All right, almost 12 minutes gone past 5 p.m. You're listening to 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am Kala Dakoru, this is Hard Facts, and I have my guest via the phone as we are about to talk about the strength and stability of the banking sector. But just before I introduce my guest, I should remind you that Heritage Bank has been liquidated. And the reason that was given is that the bank is not able to meet. I mean, my guest will talk properly on that one because I'm not an expert. But according to the report seen on newspapers, is that the bank has failed to meet, or should I say, breached a section of the BOFIA 2020. The board and management of the bank have not been able to improve the bank's financial performance, a situation which constitutes a threat to financial stability. And of course, the CBN decided to liquidate the bank. The NDIC is already looking at compensating, or is it reimbursing is the right word, reimbursing customers. So to help with this conversation is the chairman, the Institute, or the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, and he goes by the name Nkwachukwu. Can you hear me, sir? Good afternoon to you.
Yes, I can.
All right. So can you explain further for us what the situation is with Heritage Bank?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kalada. Good evening, listeners. Nkwachukwu Njoku is my name. I'm the state chairman of CIBN, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, University Branch. Okay, going straight to your question, the situation with Heritage Bank is something that has to do with a breach of Section 12 of the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act, as amended. And the CBN is empowered by that section to do what they have just done. They will revoke your license. Then, after revocation, it now becomes the duty of the NDIC, who is the insurer of the deposits that the banks have, to do the liquidation process. So that is where we are today. So the Heritage Bank fell short of it. But in my own view, and recalling or noting the fact that a Heritage Bank is not a listed company on the Nigerian exchange, their financials may not be in the public view as it were supposed to be, assuming it were listed on the exchange. But however, for those of us that have interest, directly or indirectly, there are ways of knowing what is happening there and in terms of their financial performance. Okay. Over time, the bank has not actually done well, and that is why the hammer came this time around from the CBN.
Sorry. When you said the bank has not done well, is it in relation to the recent CBN policies talking about how much, deposit banks should, deposit with the CBN? Does it have anything to do with that? Raising, there's a name the CBN calls it. I can't remember it now. But does it have anything to do with
the cash reserve ratio?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that may be one aspect. That would be maybe one aspect. Is okay, let me just explain it in a simpler way. When the capital of an organization, like the assets of an organization, are less than the liabilities of the organization, the organization, it will be in red. That is, they will start suffering. Yeah. It means that they will not be able to meet up their obligations when they fall due. And going further, their liquidity will be in question. Their compliance with statutory regulations will be in question. And there is nothing the CBN can do, because before these things happen, it means that their equity position has already gone negative. So that is the money that their shareholders have is already in negative position. So it means that there is nothing the CBN can do but to just do what they have done. Because when the signal or the symptoms were there, the CBN had already called them to order, telling them, please remedy this situation through CBN inspection and things like that. And since they have not complied over time, it becomes something that if you leave it, then the financial system reputation will be in question, and those depositors will be at a disadvantage. Okay. So the CBN had to do what they have done now.
As a layman, I want to ask the question: if the NDIC now trying to reimburse customers, and let's say the bank has got the capacity to reimburse its customers, then why are we not merging the banks as we've seen in recent times? Why is there not a merger? Why is it even said to be a failed bank if it can still give out monies to customers who deposited in the bank?
Okay, you say what? Let me explain that particular area in such a way that listeners will understand. The NDIC is the insurer. It's like the insurance company of banks.
Oh.
The NDIC.
Okay.
Yes, it's the insurance company of banks. So when a bank's license has been revoked, the NDIC will pay customers that have like 5 million, that is for commercial banks, 5 million and below. NDIC will pay them the full deposits. Then for microfinance banks, NDIC will pay 2 million maximum. But for those that have more than this amount, they have to wait for what we call the liquidation process. Realizations from the liquidation process. That means that if a particular asset of the bank is sold, they will share whatever that has been realized from it. Then if another one is sold, and that is how they'll be doing it until all the assets of the bank is finally realized. And that is the full liquidation. And there is priority of repayment, which these depositors will benefit from. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the people that have lost 100% are people that have shares in that bank. They have lost 100% because their equity has already been in negative position before this process started. So that is how it works. So now, when they were having this challenge, it was incumbent on the board of directors of the bank to say, we are not able to remedy this situation, or we will not even remedy it in the foreseeable future. Let us look for somebody who can buy us. And remember, for somebody to buy you, the person will go and look at your liabilities. Are you carrying overload that will affect me when I buy you? If you are carrying overload, then I will not buy you. But if your load, the liability you are carrying is something that I can manage, then I will be able to buy. Probably these options must have been exploited, and there was no way out. Hence, the CBN intervention.
But now we've seen in recent times where, except I didn't get my reports correct, we've seen where the CBN forced the merger. We've seen in situations where certain banks were seen as not being able to meet, their financial responsibilities, and some other banks were asked to. Some recent mergers. I'm trying to remember exactly which or what mergers, but we've seen certain mergers like that. So why was it not done with this one as well?
No, it's an independent company. The bank is an independent company. Remember, it's not even a quoted company.
Oh, okay.
It's a limited liability company.
Okay.
Do you understand? It's not a PLC. But aside from that, the CBN cannot take over the management of the bank unilaterally or aside the statutory scope. So the CBN will do what they are supposed to do as a regulator. So CBN is just a supervisor of all banks, the regulator of all banks that will tell banks act from here to here. You can't exceed there. When you exceed there, then they will call you to order. That is the way it works. So it is the owners of the bank, the shareholders, and the board of directors that will say, oh, looking at where we are and what we are now, we cannot survive in the foreseeable future. Let's look for somebody to marry us. Let's look for somebody to buy us over. Then they now start working in cleaning up some of their heavy liabilities that will discourage any future husband or any future buyer. That is the way it works. But when their liabilities are too heavy, in such a way that when any husband marries you, you may even kill that husband. They will just allow you to die naturally. So that is the way it works.
So now, should we be scared? Should we be worried about the strength of the banking sector? Should we be worried? I can't overemphasize this question, but what would be your answer?
No, there is nothing to worry about. There is nothing to worry about, especially with the public limited liability companies and other banks too, because the CBN is on top of their game, monitoring. So there is nothing to worry about. The thing is that if you have your money with any financial institution, try and know what they are doing, and also study the financials of that particular institution from time to time, so that you know your level of exposure to them. That is the way it is. But there is nothing to worry about with regards to the financial system in Nigeria. And remember, recapitalization is ongoing. That will even strengthen the sector. It will strengthen the sector.
Okay. So the economy.
There are people that may owe the bank. They just want to say this is our bank, even when they have opportunity to sell or to go into merger. They want to find a way to survive at all costs, and in the long run, they will not be able to survive, and they will not have it becomes an issue this way. Right. So that is why there should be dynamism in the system.
All right, I've got some more questions for you. I mean, the economic situation in Nigeria, is it affecting the banking sector? I've got many more questions like that, but we'd have to go for a quick commercial break first of all. When we do come back, I would throw the questions at you. So please, I would beg you to stay with me on the show. Stay on the line. When we do come back, we talk some more.
Okay, that's okay.
All right, then. the chairman of the Rivers State Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. It's good to have you via the phone, and welcome back.
Thank you, Kalada.
All right, so just before the break, I was saying, looking at the economy, inflation is high there. The value of the naira is troublesome as well. And the economy is not really favorable, so to say, as it relates to conducting businesses. And of course, some would say, and rightly so, the banking system is an investment. It's a business in its right. So could the economy also be affecting the banking sector? I know you said the banking sector is good, it's stable, but one can't help but ask these questions. Could it be that the banking sector is also being plagued by the current economic situation?
Of course, the banking sector is not existing in isolation. It's part of the system, and it's not a closed system. It must interact, and it interacts with the environment. The economy of Nigeria, whatever happens to the economy, will affect the banking sector. That is it. But however, it is not the thing that is responsible for what is happening in Heritage Bank. It's not because of this, of what is happening in the economy this year. But there is no way the inflation rate. Remember the NPL that was just increased recently. It's banks. When they say that keep so percentage of your money with us, it means that you keep it with the bank, and with the CBN.
CBN, yeah.
And when you keep it with the CBN, you will not be trading with it at that moment. So whatever that happens in the economy will affect the banks.
Interesting. Now, someone just sent in a message, says, good evening, I have 9 million naira in Heritage Bank. After receiving the first 5 million, how long do you think it will take to liquidate the bank's assets in order for me to get my balance? I would not call your name for security reasons, but over to you. How long do you think it will take for her to get, the balance, or how long does it take for liquidation process to happen?
There is no external person that can tell you how long. But the thing is that it will happen. But no external person can tell you how long it will take to do that. But that is within the powers of the liquidator. Do you understand? As realizations are done, then distributions will also be done. Start considering the ranking. The priority of ranking of
customers.
settlement.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the way.
All right. Let me ask this question now. How can people know when their banks are having issues? I mean, you said Heritage Bank is not listed, and that's one way, or that's one reason why the people did not know that the bank was in troubled waters. But how can I know? For the several banks that we have littered across Nigeria, how can one know a troubled bank?
Okay, for instance, when you go to your bank branch and it happens that the transaction you want to do, they were unable to do it. It's a red flag. If you go to a bank branch and maybe the branch is closed, they now say that the branch has been closed and they are moving to another closed branch. You should go there. That's where a branch is also a red flag. Like the issue of the one we are talking about now. They used to have a branch close to the secretariat. That branch was closed down, and they moved. So those things are red flags that should be telling customers I should start taking the right steps to reduce my deposits or my exposures in this particular bank. And again, if you also have substantial amounts with any financial institution, if you don't know yourself, then get people that know.
If you don't know your what? Sorry, if you don't know your what?
If you don't know how to assess the performance of that financial institution or of that business, get people that know to explain to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? For instance, let's assume that we have somebody who is not literate enough to understand what is happening in the financial system. And you have the business you are doing or the work you are doing, you are making millions and millions of naira that is with a particular bank. If you can't understand it, ask professionals to tell them. You must have somebody that will be an advisor to you, that you can tell the person to help you provide advice with regards to such exposures.
Looking at the country, looking at the world now, where there are potential security threats to the financial sector, is it advisable to go meet people to explain these things when you have millions in your account? One, two. As an individual, even me myself, I don't know how to assess these how do I put it now? The strength of the banks, the various banks in the country. So can you give us any definitive way, apart from seeing the bank shut down, setting of their banking halls and all of that stuff? What else can we use to identify?
Okay, if it's a public company, if it's a company that is listed on the exchange, you can get that online. Okay, you just go to your Google, type financial position of or the financial report of Nigerian Info Bank PLC as at 31st December 2023, because this is 2024. So their last financials will be 2023. You can get that online. Okay. If it's a public company, because it will be online. But for these banks that are not a public company, you have to take extra step, and if you want to know what they're doing, so that you will not just be putting your money in a system that you don't understand. And that is why we say that people should, the little money you pay to consultants or advisors will save you a lot. All right. Instead of keeping everything to yourself, you want to do it yourself, and in the long run, it becomes a challenge. So you pay professionals to get information for you, so that you will have that rest of mind on where you put your money, if the company is not publicly quoted. But if it's publicly quoted, you can get it online. Even when it's publicly quoted, you still need professionals to interpret the report or the financial positions to you, because not everybody can read and understand what those financials are talking about, or what the things they are stated there, analysis and things like that, or the reports are talking about. Not everybody will understand them.
All right. So someone is asking, he says banks with a particular bank, and of late, no matter how much your deposit is, they can't give you more than 10,000 naira at the banking hall. Is asking, is that also a red flag? That's Felix Nwaigwe from GRA. Is that also a red flag that people should watch out for?
Okay, the thing with that is, remember, the CBN is pursuing a cashless policy. Sure. And the availability of cash in any bank branch is subject to the amount they have gone to CBN to collect, and the amount that customers, the branch customers of that bank have deposited. So these two will determine the quantity of cash that a branch have to pay you over the counter or even put in their ATM. So because of the scarcity, and these days that customers don't deposit money in the bank again, they rather sell it to POS operators and make money from there. So what banks do is, in order not to run out of cash totally, they will have to manage the one they have, by rationing it to the customer. So if you enter in the bank branch and they tell you it is only 10,000 we can pay, that's not a red flag. It's not showing that the bank is having issues. You have to go to the financials and look at their last financials and know what is happening there. That will tell you the direction of the bank.
All right. So as we wrap up this conversation, you are saying to Rivers people and people listening from wherever they are listening from, that even if the bank is not doing so well, there are systems in place that can ensure that the people get back their money, right? Through the NDIC particularly.
Yeah, subject to the amount you have there.
Okay.
That the NDIC amended it recently. So if you have your 5 million and below, then you will have your 100% for assuming, let's say this Heritage Bank, you have 5 million and below, you get that back. Even though it's not going to happen today, that kind of thing, but you get it back. Where the challenge is if you have beyond the maximum statutory insured amount, which is 5 million. If you have more than that, then you have to wait for the bank to realize their assets. The liquidator to realize the bank's assets and now make distribution based on their rankings.
All right. Someone just sent in a message. It says, on Heritage Bank, what your guest is not telling listeners is why the CBN allowed the NPLS, that's non-performing loans of Heritage Bank, to get to such unsustainable levels over the years since they inspect them annually. The fact is that for whatever reason, collusion included, the CBN failed in its supervisory role. All the signs were there that Heritage Bank had accumulated hundreds of billions in non-performing loans. Most Nigerians are not financially literate to the level of analyzing P&L and income statements. Bob Port Harcourt. So what do you want to say about the CBN? Because I think I asked a similar question. Why didn't the CBN call for a merger all this while, or do something about it to ensure that the bank didn't get to the state? But someone who's a professional in that is asking why the CBN allowed the bank to get to the point where it accumulated so much liabilities.
Okay, actually, it's the CBN that can answer that, but some of us too, as professionals, will ask some similar questions. The thing is that the present CBN governor is new, and we had the CBN governor before him. So individual personalities that drive institutions or that lead institutions influence some of these decisions. Some people may want to be a little bit lenient to see whether the people can come out of the rules. Some people may say, no, we can't wait anymore. Let's hit. Let's take the decision the way it's supposed to be taken. So that is the thing. So the CBN as an institution, assuming that what they are supposed to do or what they have done is any bank that meets that threshold, they hammer before. Then this could have happened before now, and maybe more financial institutions may also have one or two challenges. When they give them some leadway, you see that some of them will just remedy it.
Oh, okay.
And will not have this kind of situation.
So there's the possibility that other banks are going through similar challenges, or not exactly, but similar.
No, not that other banks are. But a bank may have may falter in part of it, and when CBN writes them that, have you looked at this? Before you know it, they have reversed. Okay. They have remedied it. Okay. It depends on the leadership of that particular institution, of that banking institution. You understand what I'm saying? All right. But some may not be able to remedy it, and the situation will just grow bad. So that is it.
Okay, quickly, in very short answers, how can one get their money from NDIC? Someone is asking.
No, it will be advertised. NDIC office is at Woji Road in GRA here. Okay. For those that are too anxious, they can just drive down there. But I know that they will advertise it and advise customers on what to do.
All right, then.
That's the way it is going to.
All right, Thank you very much for your time. I have got to go. Commercials up next, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Calada.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too.